We all walk around, feeling like the main character of our own lives. But what if the actual story template you've been using is just completely outdated?
Yeah, that is a really big question to start with.
Right. So today we are diving into the source material titled One Let's Play Again. We're basically cracking open the final act of the dynamic Diamond series trilogy.
Specifically, the introduction to Book 3, Diamond Quintessence.
Exactly. Our mission for this deep dive is to explore why the narratives we've relied on for millennia are actually, well, trapping us, and how we can break out of them.
It is a crucial transition because when you really look at human history, our reality is entirely constructed by the stories we tell.
Right, story shapes everything we do.
Yeah, whether it's classic literature, the way we interpret archaeology, or even how we frame scientific discovery, humanity has relied heavily on just 7 basic plots.
Okay, so that's overcoming the monster, rags to riches.
The quest, voyage and return, comedy, tragedy, and rebirth.
Okay, let's unpack this, because it sounds like these 7 plots are essentially just this restrictive restaurant menu we've been forced to order from for thousands of years.
That is a great way to put it. They are like an ancient operating system.
And the source material argues these plots are fundamentally flawed now, right? Like, they keep us stuck in what it calls a shadow narrative.
Precisely.
Uh,
They are inherently fear-based. Our current global storyline is, dominated by wars, economic crises, and environmental collapse.
because we're unconsciously living out those conflict-driven templates. I mean,
Yeah.
to overcome a monster, you literally have to manifest a monster.
Exactly. You need the conflict for the story to work.
Oh.
So the text proposes an 8th storyline to reinvent the human experience. It is called the Quintessence.
The quintessence?
Yeah, which is a multi-dimensional plot of hope, love, and harmony. It is not about conflict at all.
I do have to push back a little here, though. In a world actively dealing with severe crises, how does someone practically reject a fear-based narrative?
Well, it is not about ignoring the external conflict.
Right, because if we just decide to tell a story of harmony, isn't that kind of just ignoring the very real monsters at the door? How does this 8th storyline actually function?
It changes the mechanism of how we respond.
Mhm.
Instead of reacting out of fear to defeat an enemy.
Which just perpetuates the cycle.
Exactly, it just feeds the loop. The 8th storyline asks us to generate solutions from a place of unity. And to understand how we actually do that, the text introduces a metaphorical framework called the Diamond A-Spire.
And this is where the alchemy comes in, right?
Yes, this is the core of it.
So the Diamond A-Spire framework integrates the alchemical symbols for the 4 classical elements: earth, fire, water, and air.
Which correspond to our human experience. Earth is our resources, fire is action and will, water is intuition, and air is intellect.
Right, and anyone familiar with this space knows those basics.
Mm.
But having those 4 foundational elements balanced doesn't automatically write a new story.
No, they're just the pieces of the puzzle. They are completely inert on their own.
They're like a finely tuned engine, right? You can have all the parts assembled perfectly, but what is the spark plug that actually ignites them all together? Without a catalyst, nothing transforms.
What's fascinating here is that the catalyst is the quintessence itself.
Wait, really? The storyline is the catalyst?
Yes, the source defines the quintessence as the divine spark or the divine essence that exists within every single individual. It is literally the 5th element.
Wow, so the spark plug is already inside us.
Exactly. When you activate that internal divine spark, it unifies your intellect, your will, your emotions, and your resources.
So that is the true alchemy of the Diamond Aspire.
Yes, turning the lead of our old, fear-based shadow plots into the gold of a unified divine human experience.
So by tapping into that inner spark, you stop being a character reacting to the monsters in the plot.
Right, you become the author, generating a totally new reality.
Which is just huge. So what does this mean for you listening right now? The ultimate message of this trilogy's final act is that you aren't just sitting in the audience.
No, you are not just participating in a story.
You are the Diamond Quintessence.
The power to shift the entire human narrative rests internally with the individual. It demands moving from passive participation in those old plots to active creation of the new one.
Which brings up a really fascinating implication. We'll leave you with this to mull over today.
It is a big question.
If you possess this divine spark and are no longer restricted to the 7 classic plots,
Right.
what completely unprecedented 8th storyline will you choose to write for yourself tomorrow? And if we step into a story driven purely by harmony, what happens to the concept of the antagonist?
Yeah, where does the friction come from?
Exactly. Without a monster to push against, where does our growth actually come from in this completely new human experience?